Another year, another batch of movies to get excited for, as they always say. Welcome to my most anticipated movies of 2025 list. 2024 was a decent year for movies. Like, all the movies I reviewed were pretty dang good to the point I felt like I was just handing out high grades. Now, will 2025 be the same? As opposed to 2024's most anticipated list, it was much harder to put this list together since there's not nearly as many movies I'm for sure excited for. There's not nearly as many I feel I have to see, so this list is filled with movies that I'm interested to see, but not in a die-hard way. Anyway, without further ado, these are my most anticipated movies of 2025. Starting off, a franchise I didn't expect to be in any of my anticipated lists over the years. Avatar: Fire and Ash. As you all probably know, the previous Avatar movie, The Way of Water, was on my radar for 2022, but I wasn't really excited for it since we'd been so far removed from that first movie, and I didn't feel like there was much story or features to be excited for. I mean, when the trailer came out, it looked visually great, but I wasn't longing to see it like other movies that year. And then after I saw it, it became the sole honorable mention for my best of 2022 list, since I saw it as I was already making that video. Needless to say, I ended up really enjoying it. I was surprised. I thought it was pretty good. Now, James Cameron is a little too good at ending his movies in a complete way, so while there's some dangling threads, there's not much I'm looking forward to, as in, I don't know what to look forward to. But I mean, I am intrigued by these fire or volcano tribes that will be making an appearance, and maybe they'll have their own weird lava monsters to mount or something. I'm more interested in the world building aspect of this new adventure in Pandora. And again, James Cameron is a great director and really pushes the technology, so I know the visuals will be amazing, and I can't wait to see if he surprises me again with a good story to go along with it, but we'll just have to wait and see. Next up is Mortal Kombat 2. I really enjoyed this previous iteration of Mortal Kombat. Now, was the story the greatest? No. Were there some not so good effects in the movie? Maybe. I'd say there was just as many good effects in that film though. The unique characters are the obvious driving factor for me, as they introduce more from the classic fighting games roster, including one Johnny Cage, going to be played by Carl Urban, aka Benny the Butcher from The Boys. Oi Huey, we got some mortals to combat. Urban is a good actor and I can't wait to see his take on the character. This retired celebrity movie star type, who's a fan favorite in the franchise. I can't wait to see what other characters and crazy creatures will be added to the sequel, and with a higher budget, we should be able to see even crazier fighting moves and fatalities hit the big screen. And maybe they'll have a better story, because I thought the world building worked. The story to go with it just wasn't the best. Here's to hopefully another good video game movie, which they've been on the rise the past couple years. Good for them. Next movie I'm interested to see is The Monkey. So there's kind of some funny timing with this one. I actually read some of Stephen King's Skeleton Crew earlier this year, which was like the first book I got from a library in like years. Which that book is a collection of some of his short stories, and one of them I read was the infamous story in question, The Monkey. It was even on the cover of the version I got. The story is about this mysterious tambourine monkey doll that may be causing accidents and the deaths of people who come in contact with it. I was surprised with it because at first I thought it would be kind of dumb, like the premise is kind of silly, just a little monkey. What could be scary about this weird tambourine monkey? I mean, those things are freaky. I think people got freaked out about those back in the day just from the looks of them. But there was actually a creeping dread that started to simmer in me as I read the story, and I'm hoping they'll be able to pull that off in the film. This movie will also be directed by Oz Perkins, who made this horror detective movie I saw earlier this year titled Longlegs. He was able to create such a dread-inducing atmosphere with that movie. Specifically, there's a scene that actually made my heart race, and that never happens near movies. But I'm interested to see how he'll pull this movie off. I can't wait to see more of his atmosphere building style and trust there's going to be something intriguing about this movie, if not special, because I really like his style. So I hope to see more of that. And I'm wondering how they adapt and elongate this short story. And of course, it's Stephen King, so there's going to be at least some creepy factors to it. Next up is a franchise that I used to have a lot of hope in, and that is Jurassic World. This new movie being called Jurassic World Rebirth. To be honest, after they handled Dominion, I don't know if I can trust this franchise completely anymore. That was my worst movie of 2022 because it actually made me mad with what they did with the story and the potential they were alley-ooped in the previous movie. Just to completely fumble it for a plot about locusts, farming, an evil Apple corporation with dinosaurs on another island. Now, of course, the idea of more dinosaur movies excites me since I was a dinosaur kid growing up. They're also bringing on Gareth Edwards, who did the 2014 Godzilla reboot, which he lends a great scale to the filmmaking in that movie, so I'm certain he could do something great with dinosaurs. The good and bad news is that Universal had a script pre-written that they were so certain to use that they didn't allow rewrites for it, which means it's either actually really good or they think they have a cool idea and it's actually dumb, like what happened with the Dominion movie. But the cast seems cool, the promise of a new direction from the other Jurassic World movies is a plus, and I think Gareth Edwards can make it actually look good. So maybe Rebirth will be the redemption for the Jurassic World franchise, and can finally get this Dominion taste out of my mouth. But we shall see. I'll be looking out for when that trailer drops. The next movie I'm interested to see is another horror film, The Wolfman. Or minus the. It's Wolfman. I've always been intrigued by The Wolfman, but funny enough, I don't think I've ever seen a movie all the way through. I remember when the one with Benicio del Toro was coming out, and I thought it looked so cool and creepy. Well, except apparently it's not that great of a movie. Never saw it, I can't say for myself. But I've loved the look and idea of the Wolfman, so naturally I'm going to actually see the latest iteration of him. This one being brought to us by Leigh Whannell, the guy who brought the excellent Invisible Man reimagining in 2020. He also had a hand in a lot of the works of James Wan, including the early Insidious films, so he's a great director. The thing that gives me pause is much like his Invisible Man film, he's doing a more realistic take on the Wolfman, where a rabid dog or person might be attacking this family in a cabin in the woods before the father is bitten and slowly succumbs to rabies, or maybe super rabies. So this could be really bad or be an interesting take. The jury isn't out on that one yet though. I'm hoping it's not just rabies and more of a super rabies or a disease based off of it that ends up being a little more supernatural, but we shall see. And with this movie, I'll get to finally say I saw a Wolfman movie all the way through. The next movie that has piqued my interest is this mysterious film called Sinners. All I know about this movie is that it is the horror debut for Ryan Coogler, the guy behind Creed and the Black Panther movies. The trailer makes the movie feel very ominous as this impending evil approaches a small town. It seems to be set in the early 1900s, and I'm getting a real Jordan Peele vibe from this trailer, which is great since I love that guy's movies. Ryan Coogler is a great director in his own right, and I can't wait to see his take on a horror film. Also, Michael B. Jordan is back, and from what I know, he is playing dual roles as twins, so I'm interested to see what that dynamic will be like. Will it be as good as Jim Carrey as Dr. Robotnik and Gerald Robotnik? I don't know. I mean, different genre. This movie is shrouded in mystery, and I can't wait to see what's going on with it. Next up is a superhero movie I'm excited to see, which is Fantastic Four: First Steps. A new take on the Fantastic Four that might actually be good? I'm all ears, man, and eyeballs. The Fantastic Four seems to be just one of those superhero franchises that has had a hard time translating well onto film, which is crazy because they used to be one of the most popular superhero groups, and not to mention one of the first Marvel characters ever created. I liked the 2005 version growing up, but haven't seen it in forever, so I don't know how well it has aged, and those movies just haven't stuck with me like an X-Men or Spider-Man. Another interesting aspect about it is that this is supposed to be set in an alternate universe with a 60s retro futurism theme, so that sounds pretty fun to play around with, so I'm thinking there will potentially be a unique, fresh feel to this movie. An actual comic-accurate Galactus is supposed to show up. He won't just be a giant fart cloud tornado. He should have been the final boss of Twisters, am I right? And there might be a possible first appearance from Robert Downey Jr.'s Doctor Doom, who I still don't know how to feel about, but it has piqued my interest. I'm also curious to see how the new cast does as their new characters and how their dynamics work. And hopefully they finally do Fantastic Four definitively well. Next up is a surprise appearance from a movie featured on last year's most anticipated list, and that's Mickey 17. What? So this is weird. What is this, a glitch in the Matrix? How did this get on the list for 2025 as well as 2024? No, it's just Warner Brothers being Warner Brothers. Yeah, so this movie was locked and loaded for February last year, and Warner Brothers, in all their wisdom, decided to delay it a whole whopping year for some reason. I don't know what the point of that was, but I mean, Warner Bros. Has been acting pretty dumb the past couple years, so weird moves like this is just the norm now. This movie's premise is so interesting as Robert Pattinson plays a disposable employee working on an icy planet, and when he gets killed, he is reanimated as a clone to continue doing the work. Hijinks ensues when one of the clones ends up running into the other, and this premise sounds insane and fun. It's going to be a black comedy directed by Bong Joon-ho, the director of Best Picture winner Parasite, which I still need to get around to seeing before this movie comes out. I'm intrigued to see this award-winning director's style, and the trailer that came out made it look even more fun than I originally thought it was going to be. So I'm really happy this is actually releasing instead of the whole Coyote versus Acme situation, which was mad dumb. But we don't have to rehash that. Anyway, I can't wait to see such an original premise brought to the big screen. Okay, these last two movies I'm actually pretty hyped for. The first being 28 Years Later, the long-awaited sequel to the 28 Insert Time Frame series after 28 Days Later and 28 Weeks Later, respectively. I mean, naturally, I think next in line would have been 28 Months Later, but maybe now that could just be a prequel to this movie or something. For those of you who don't know, this is a zombie apocalypse film series that, though not inventing it, popularized the fast zombies. Yeah, so none of that lumbering corpses, just full speed sprinting cadavers. I don't know much else about it since I still haven't seen these movies, so I'll have to catch up before this releases in June. All I know is Oppenheimer was in them at some point. But the recent first trailer just blew me away with its cinematography and atmosphere and quickly bumped up my excitement for this project. So I'll be sure to do my homework before June rolls around and see what this zombie series is all about. I'm legit hyped to see this take on a zombie post-apocalypse. And kudos to the trailer makers, because it's been a while since just a trailer has completely hooked me into seeing a movie. But at number one, my definitive, most anticipated movie of 2025. It's Superman. This is the official kickoff of a whole new cinematic universe, except for Creature Commandos on Max, but who knows how much that really counts. They're still in the muddy water stages of this world. But this is the kickoff of the DCU. It's headed by James Gunn, the director and writer of the Guardian of the Galaxy movies, and I love his approach to starting this new superhero universe. He seems to be taking the lessons from the MCU and DCEU by making it not feel like they're copying the MCU formula and creating something completely new. Through interviews and news of the Superman script writing process over the years, this movie was originally titled Superman Legacy, for those of you who have already forgotten. Me. Gunn has showed such a love for the comic book art form and the characters that inhabit it. It seems he's keeping it very locked in, where he's not just greenlighting every movie and rushing projects out. He's actually requiring full scripts to be completed before the start of filming. A bad habit many franchises have picked up over the years, where they have parts of scripts but ultimately make it up as they go along during filming. Thor, Love and Thunder, anyone? But along with James Gunn's guiding direction, the trailer for this movie just looks incredible. I can't wait to see the performance of our new Superman in Dave Cornsweet, who I ended up seeing in Twisters this past year. And this universe already feels full of character and life through the other existing superheroes, Lex Luthor, and is that Crypto the Superdog? It looks like he might actually work in live action. There's a sweet story behind why he's making an appearance in this movie. I recommend looking it up. It's really sweet. It just seems that there's a lot of love and respect being put into this movie, and I'm hoping it'll be a hit, because it looks really, really good. And I absolutely can't wait to see what James Gunn does with it and the ever-expanding DC universe. So far, it looks grand, epic, and so true to the Superman character, making it my most anticipated film of 2025. Well, that was my list. What movies are you guys excited to see in 2025? I'm sure there's some I missed, some other ones I forgot were on the radar. But yeah, tell me what movies you're excited for, what movies I should not be excited for. Is that a thing? Could you just be like, no, don't be excited for that? I don't know. But yeah, comment below, let me know, tell me some movies I've forgotten about, and also put them on my radar. Come on, how could I be excited if I don't know it exists? Anyway, this has been just another reviewer saying, Happy Gilmore 2 better be peak.